Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.
Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Sports Orbit right here on the Leadership Podcast Studio. My name is Awali Ayeni. Welcome to the show. I have with me the sports editor of the Leadership newspaper talking about Sandy Fosman. It's great to have you join us today again.
Thank you, Mr. Walid Dufflin.
Of course, Alpha striking partner always. How are you doing today?
Always a pleasure. I'm fine.
Of course, we start from the local scene. The news actually, coming from the camp of Jigawa Golden Stars at this point in time is that they have actually, sacked the team technical advisor and also the head coach of the Jigawa Golden Stars due to their failure to ensure that the team remain in the MPFL for next season. At this point in time, they are relegated to the National League, which some people in some quarters actually say that is the most important league in the country. But what is your take of the sacking of the TA and the coach?
Like they always say in football, that you are as good as your last performance. So I'm sure before the season started, the management of Jigawa Golden Stars must have given the technical team a certain mandate or so a certain thing they expected from them in the course of the season, and perhaps they did not meet up the expectations of the management of the team. So, and like in football, they say there are two kinds of coaches: the one who has been sacked and the one who is yet to be sacked. So, as it is, they couldn't meet up with the expectations and the end of the Jigawa Golden Stars. So, they have to be shown the way out. So, but that's how it is in the business of football.
At this point in time, looking at the chief coach, Awal Bade, that's the technical advisor, then Gilbert Puna, the technical advisor, has been actually asked to leave the club. At this point in time, what is the future like for the Jigawa Golden Stars?
Well, I think it is, to me, it is a appropriate decision to take at the right time. If they feel that the club didn't perform well last season, because they came back into the league and just one season they are going back to where they are coming from. And if they are provided, give the technical crew all the necessary tools to work, and they're not able to achieve the result, I think it is the right decision. That it is good that they are taking the decision at early stage.
Yes.
And now they have every opportunity to have time to plan for the next season, and it depends on the kind of the coach they are going to go for, and to ensure that they bounce back to the league. It's a good plan, and let's see how it goes. But they make sure that having sacked the coach now, and at the same time they shouldn't look at it because they are going down to relegation and drop their pictures about what they want to achieve. They also follow it up and invest more in the club. Because playing the Premier League is not an easy thing, and that is not what happened. Aside hiring a coach, you need to give the coach all the necessary apparatus and the tools to be able to work with, and the caliber of the players you also put at the club. Okay, now they are going to face a lot of things. First, some of the players would like to move out of the club to go and join the Premier League club, and at the same time, it depends on them how they're going to be able to sustain to keep the player they have, because they have some fantastic players who play well. They have one of their players also one of the among the top goal scorers in the season. And at the same time, what it now depends on them how to be able to hold on to those players, because now that they're going to play in the second division. And at the same time, also looking at to invest more on the club, because if they go down and if they do that because they are good and they being the club that is being financed by the government, and the government now drop their financing for the club, and not more showing interest in the club, that will also likely going to affect them, even seeing them going down to the nationwide league. But I'm not praying for that. So having sacked a coach is not enough. They should also try to get a better coach and invest more in the club.
Of course, invest more in the club. But looking at the kind of clubs that we have in the NNL League, is it certain that if Jigawa maintain this club of players they have in the Arsenal at this point in time, can they still come back to the NPFL at the end of the NNL season?
There's every possibility, but one thing again I know about the NNL is also a very difficult league. So sometimes once you go down to the second tier, coming back sometimes becomes very, very difficult. Before you know it, you might spend another 3-4 seasons, and you are not back to the elite league. And in this kind of situations, just like Salifu rightly said, there's that possibility of losing most of your best players.
course.
Of course, because I mean, a player who has been performing will not want to go to the second tier league to play. So so they'll have that struggle of trying to keep their best players, trying to ward off interest from the bigger clubs who want to take those players. If they are able to keep those players, fine, they might be able to bounce back. But the challenge now, I think, for them is keeping those players, but which I think is very difficult. Because for you to keep those players, there has to be some sort of incentive. You have to have a plan for them, or maybe some increment in their wages, or you have to give them some assurances that some other players will come in to give them the right support so that they can quickly make it back to the MPFL. Because once you don't do that in 1-2 seasons, it becomes very difficult. We know of some teams who, once they got relegated to the NNL, for the past 5-6 seasons, they haven't been able to come back to the MPFL. So I hope Jigawa Stars will do something, convince these players to stay, and probably get in some players who will help these ones, so that they can quickly make a return to because looking at the Jigawa Stars it's not really a bad side, so I'm even shocked that they couldn't even escape relegation this time around.
Well, if you really check, the league across the world, you see that the Nigerian Professional Football League is a very, very competitive game.
Very, very.
Looking at the league, even from the winners, talking about
Akwa
United to the fifth position, it's just about 6 points, separating
Difference, yes.
those side. But if you look at other leagues like the Spanish league, the Bundesliga, you see like a whole lot of margin in between the winners and the rest of the team. But we hope to see how things pans out for Chigawa Golden Stars. Wishing them all the best and ensure that they get to keep their players for the upcoming season, because we know that NLL is a very, very difficult league, and also the whole lot of politics that happen, that get to go down in that particular league. But let's just keep our finger crossed.
The politics is mentioned. You have already hit the nail on the point.
Yes.
Because most of those clubs, because in Nigerian football league, for instance, aside the action on the pitch, the politics that they've been playing in the ballroom is more than even the action on the pitch. And they are just like Alpha say, going down to the nation, go down company is always very difficult in Nigerian league. There are many examples to go on. For instance, Kaduna United.
Yes.
As we are talking, Kaduna United has been to a station.
Of course, completely.
After the club that was playing in the Premier League, they get relegated.
Yes.
Now, at the moment, the club are going to a station. And for this time, I'm afraid for Jigawa Golden Stars, but for a very long time, the club had been in the lower league before they were able to proceed and come back to the league. And just for one season, they go there. And I think that with the anger to which the club management take the decision, it shows them that they are not happy about that. And at the same time, they should follow up, not just the anger. And at the same time, just like you say, because for instance, if by definition say, okay, since now you are no more longer playing in the Premier League, we are going to drop down your wage bill because we are now a lower league player, that is definitely going to be a counterproductive. Exactly. To affect them more.
Exactly.
Of course. Okay, we're from Jigawa Golden Stars at this point in time. We head straight to the camp of the Super Eagles, where the latest FIFA ranking actually was so. Team Nigeria, I thought this was the picture was so. Nigeria Super Eagles actually dropped from 32 in the world. They are now ranked at 34 in the world, and they are right about now 5th in Africa. We know that this cannot be unconnected to the two friendly matches we played against Cameroon. We lost one and we drew one. I think that was the major factor that actually affected Team Nigeria going down in the new figure ranking. But let's get your thoughts. How can we actually salvage ourselves from this low ranking? How can we improve in FIFA rankings?
Well, the qualifiers will be starting soon. The World Cup qualifier September. So that will be a good avenue for us to qualify. To boost our rankings. As while we are fighting for qualification for Qatar 2022, at the same time, if we are able to win most of our matches, so definitely it will impact on our FIFA ranking also. Then, of course, when the Nations Cup also comes, these competitions have a way of impacting positively on your ranking or negatively depending on how you perform. So they just dropped 2 steps backward, so not a bad one. They're still within the top 35 in the world. I remember there was a time when Nigeria was up to like maybe 70 something, but it's been long since, we even
sometimes we were fifth in the world.
Yes, actually, but that's a long time ago. But if you consider all that has gone through, Nigerian football has passed through, you can cut the team some slack, so it's not as bad as it was. I remember there was a time when we slipped up to like, I think 72, and it made it very difficult for some of our players in the Premier League to even get permits, because for you to even play in the Premier League to get the work permit, your national team has to be up to at least not below 70, or I think so. It was becoming very difficult for even some of our players in the Premier League at then to get work permit. But 42, I mean, there's always room for improvement. If we do well during the qualifiers, I'm sure maybe before by the end of this year, we should be in the top 30, hopefully. So, but for me, I don't think it's really a bad ranking per se.
We are ranked 5th in Africa. Does he actually speak well for the Super Eagles of Nigeria?
He doesn't speak well for Super Eagles of Nigeria. You can't be ranked 5th in Africa. And at the same time, aside the Cameroon match, I think the Mexican match also play effect in this ranking. Because it's an international friendly,
exactly.
And it is either you call it,
and nobody will consider whether you was home base or
it's a Super Eagles.
Exactly.
It's your national team. It's your national
team.
Yes. So you ever against it's your national team. So that is why the organizers of the Nigerian football should look at it. If you're organizing a match, or the handler of the national team should also look at what the FIFA ranking has come to stay. And many people are now used as a yardstick to even decide how to organize if you have to play another match, or even your bargaining price. If you are going for any bargain or any contract sign or any negotiation with sponsorship, they'll look at your start on the FIFA ranking. So the organizer, the management of the Nigerian Football Federation and the handler of the national team should also always have a focus on the ranking. Because if you deviate, if you play less, your ranking drop. As your ranking drop, your price drop.
Definitely.
So if Nigerian, as what we call ourselves as a giant of Africa, the giant of Africa, and as the same time one of the best team in Africa, and we are ranked 15 in Africa. These people well about Senegal is ahead of us. Senegal is up there. So at least Senegal should be better than Nigeria. If we call ourselves a serious nation.
Of course, at this point in time, we know that come January we'll be heading to Cameroon for the AFCON. AFCON 2021, and we are expected at this point in time there will be no room for the NFF to actually fail and ensure that the Super Eagles get to win the AFCON title for the 4th time. If not, Nigerians are really not happy with the performance.
No, we expect nothing short of. I mean, anything short of we bringing home the title, for me, I will consider it as a poor performance. We've consistently. I think no team has gotten more bronze medals than Nigeria in the history of the AFCON.
Yes. We have that title.
Exactly. Someone in every AFCON, we know that worst case scenario, we are coming home with the bronze, silver. I mean, the likes of Egypt are close to about 5 AFCON. Seven, if I'm not mistaken. At this point, Nigeria should not be talking about just 3 AFCONs since. We
in the 80s.
In the 80s, by now at least minimum we should be talking about at least like 5 AFCON titles. So in Cameroon, I mean, which is just our neighbors, it's almost like we are playing at home. I mean, Cameroon is just here, so I really expect the NFF at this point in time, including the technical crew, to ensure that the best legs and only the best legs are invited to don the green this time around, and not just players. Who unknown players we just invite from Europe, who play in some kinds of leagues. Some players just because they score 1 or 2 goals, and you just invite them, and they come and don't even understand how Nigerian football works, and they make a mess of the whole thing. So I think only the best legs, only players who are firing on all cylinders should be invited this time around.
Of course, looking at our team, Nigeria's group, we'll be playing in the qualifiers in September. Are you confident that we can actually make it to Qatar 2022 finals?
It's not about confidence. If you look at Nigeria team, I'm looking at the group. I think we're going against Cape Verde. So on paper, Cape Verde on paper it should be
just the first stage.
It should be an easy but that's just the first stage. No, the major stage is the nerve. Yes, you have to pass the first to get to the second stage. I don't think the first stage should be an issue for Nigeria, because it should be an
like you
easy
say,
right.
no more minnows in football.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no pushover in Africa for African team at the moment. But that should be an easy right for Nigerian team to Super Eagles to get to the second round.
So
The second round where you meet the who is who in Africa, and that one is a knockout stage. So you knock me, or that is going to be the biggest challenge for our team. And just like if you're looking at the Cameroon, AFCON coming of Cameroon very soon, you just say that if you go there, we didn't win the cup, you get a disappointment. Looking at it, we are in August. We are talking about 5 months away. We're talking about 5 months away, and a team or a nation who is serious, who has a target about winning that cup, who has their programs and preparation in top gear by now. Yes. But if you look at it, me and you are here, we are in this country. Is there anything to show that yes, Cameroon we have a nations cup coming up in 5 months to come? There's no any program, there's no anything on plan apart from the players that are just on holiday preparing for their league season. Exactly. And there's nothing.
Of course, there's nothing at this point in time, but we'll go for a short break. And when we come back, we head straight to the foreign scene. Don't go nowhere, it's the Sports Orbit.
Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.
Okay, welcome from that short break. We head straight to the foreign scene where Maduka has actually, picked England ahead of Nigeria. At this point in time, Madu, looking at his, we have seen other players, getting to choose England ahead of Nigeria. The likes of Bukayo Saka, the like of Gabriel Agbonahon, and all like that. The list, continues like that. Is it actually, good for them to be called up to the English team, just play one or two matches? At the end of the day, you don't get to play for the English team again, or them getting to play for the Super Eagles, and they are sure of more and more call-up than that which they actually will get from the English team.
If it comes to international football, for instance, for a lot of players who have some sort of Nigerian heritage out there in Europe, for me, if I'm to give my candid advice, I'll advise you to rather play for Nigeria. And the reason is this. Look at the issue of Tammy Abraham.
Of course.
After, so much, exactly, qualifiers, so much pleading with him to come represent, he was used for the qualifiers. And he thought, this is it. And when the Super squad for Europe was called up, his name was nowhere to be found. And these things continue over and over again. Same for Gabriel Agbonahon. Except maybe Saka is an exception, but even he, for how long will he even, maintain?
Something has happened to Dele Ali.
Exactly. So a lot of times these players do not get to fulfill, their potential of playing, international football for a long time at the top level. For someone like Iwobi who chose Nigeria, I mean, at least he even has a Nations Cup, to show for it. So I think
he has not won a Nations
Cup. He has a bronze medal.
Oh, sorry, a bronze medal rather.
Victor Moses.
Victor Moses rather. Yes, Victor Moses has the Nations Cup, to show for it. So when you even begin to talk about international competitions, well, Victor Moses can proudly, display his medal,
of course,
and his other compatriots like Gabriel Agbonahon cannot do the same. So you see, a lot of times, yes, you might say these players choose England because it's a more structured society. They have a more structured league and all of that international. But when it comes to international football, the truth is these people will always pick the proper English-born players ahead of players with sort of Nigerian parentage and all of that. Well, let's see how far the young man will go. Since that's his decision, let's see how far he will go in his quest to represent England. According to the statement he made, he said he believes he has all it takes to break into the English team. Well, we'll see about that in the months and years ahead.
But going forward, what would be your message for a Nigerian-born player who wants to play for another country instead of not playing for their fatherland?
Oftentimes we keep on repeating the same thing. Even this guy, John Fashanu, The unfortunate has oftentimes lay memory how we feel regret play for England.
Yes.
And at the same time, just like you mentioned, there are many examples of it. But because they feel that Africa is nowhere to go and represent, because disorganized, I'm sorry to use that word, the right situation we have in Africa home here, they only run the way to go and play for their adopted country. But if he has what he stake, if he has what he stake, if we feature in the Euro in the just for the Euro 2020, if he has what he stake to England.
Of course, because we saw his certain 17-year-old.
Yes, if he has
actually played for the
Euro. But I don't know what is his decision. If he's to play for England, I wish him well. But I don't think him since in the case of Tammy Abraham, England are done with him. They have messed him up.
Yes.
You hardly it will take a grace of God for him to come back to train.
All they do is they just play one friendly or qualifier to just make sure you are capped and the chance is gone.
And done, yes, and done and dusted.
So, they need to learn from it. Okay, Victor Moses, you make a reference to it. He has a medal to show you. He has a Nations Cup to show you, and at the same time, he has played 2 World Cups.
Exactly.
So he has gone into a FIFA history as a World Cup player. So and Alex Wobi, I don't think he's not regretting his decision playing for Nigeria. But although there are many instances that always make these players to run away from country. For instance, Leon Balogun made a note to it recently that a lot of stress, whole lot of things that you cannot even come out to see. He mentioned, is it the camp, the hotel, or the beach, and he mentioned a whole lot of things that make you to feel dissatisfied playing for the country. At the same time, I think we should also check ourselves. We need to do a lot of things. We can't, as a national team, as a Nigeria, as a national team, you don't have a pitch to play for. You move from here to here, move from here to here, move from here to here.
We don't have a structure.
You don't have a structure. NFF, Nigeria Football Federation, for years, Among the Pinnick is busy moving over, celebrating that he has been FIFA self-aggrandizing. That he has made break into a FIFA this and but what is your for 8 years? For the first time, Amadu is the first person to serve as a president of Nigeria for good tenures.
Yes.
For in recent times, I can't remember of anybody who have served Nigeria for good tenure. But in these 8 years,
we failed to qualify for major competitions 2 times.
Yes, and in these 8 years, I can't remember up to today, apart from his self-aggrandizing. Yes, he has also tried to, in terms of politics, in terms of policy of football, he's up there. And at the same time, I also commend him because he has tried one way or the other to able bring some of Nigerians into the CAF and also into the FIFA to get position. I know a lot of people who are currently working CAF because of his effort. But in the round leather game, our social in football in Nigeria, is there any contribution that we bring home?
Yeah. What legacy will he leave when he's leaving?
Nothing.
NFF,
Nothing. Our national team is worst. It's currently worse compared to when Amadu Pinnick came in. We have a cross of players who are just individual talent, but to bring them together, many people are complaining about Genedro is not a coach. Genedro is not even a coach has come out often time that Nigeria don't have a team to win a Nations Cup, and you are still keeping that coach. For what? For what is that? For what purpose? For what purpose? I don't think a Nigerian and Nigeria as a national team, they know what should be the best we can have. No.
We have good hands. Just getting to you players out there who are actually Nigerian heritage. It would actually be nice for you to come and represent your country than representing the country you are currently based in at this point in time. But away from that, we head straight to the news coming from the camp of the Blues. Talking about Chelsea yesterday, we saw them winning the Super Cup for the first time in 28 years. They actually defeated Villarreal in that particular match. After the game ended 1-1 during regulation time, the game went straight to the penalty shootout, and the Blues were actually victorious against the Spanish team. Looking at that result, was it the way it's supposed to go yesterday, or it actually didn't actually go the way
it was a great game. I mean, I watched that game, I think, for all of the 120 minutes. It was actually a game of 2 halves. In the first half, Chelsea dominated, and that resulted to them scoring a brilliant goal. And in the second half, Villarreal really came into the game and got the equalizer, dragged the game into extra time. But one thing in penalties is penalty is anybody's game. But like the coach Tuchel said after it, he said the change of Mendy and Kepa was strategic. He said it's something they worked on months even before. He said when he came into the team, even the goalkeepers trainers had said that Kepa was very good with penalties. So when he made that last minute change, a lot of us while we were watching it, we questioned the decision. I thought it was going to backfire, but I didn't know that it was actually a strategy that paid off big time. And the Blues have won their first Super Cup in 28 years. So congratulations to them.
Is this just the tip of the iceberg that we expected, to see the Chelsea side, into the next season?
Well, congratulations to Chelsea that confirmed their status as a European champions. And at the same time, just like we predicted yesterday that the game is going to be tough, and the people that also give it, but they also actually give a good account of themselves. And it's just unfortunate that yes, to drag the match into the
Penalty.
one at 20 minutes and to the penalty, you give kudos to them. Penalty could have been anybody's game, but Chelsea were the lucky side. Kudos to them. And Chelsea they do well last season, and at the same since the coming of this coach, he has
Improved,
high
yes.
the Chelsea standard, and I see Chelsea going all the way this season, and giving the like of Liverpool, Manchester United, Man City a run for their money this season. Apart from Chelsea this season.
Of course, it's also said that our old man talking about Samuel Chukwu is a in action, get to test action in that particular match yesterday due to the fact that he's at this point in time he's not match fit. He's still actually recovering from that injury that he actually sustained against Arsenal in the semi-final of the Europa Cup last season. Okay, we're still talking about the English Premiership. It has been said that the next season, talking about this season starting tomorrow, is a four-horse race. This is actually coming from some reporting, some reporters. They're saying that the league title it actually will fall between Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Liverpool. At this point in time, Arsenal fans are not in the mix, and Tottenham are not in the mix at this point in time. Even Leicester City, that actually came close to actually win a last season title, are not also in the mix. But quickly, let's get a reaction. Is the Premier League a four racehorse?
Well, realistically speaking, I quite agree. Because if you look, like we said, if you look on paper, the personnel that are in these teams, Chelsea, City, United, Liverpool. If you look at the quality of players, you see that these teams actually have the players and actually have the potential to be crowned EPL winners. No disrespect to other teams, Arsenal, Tottenham, Leicester. They also have a chance. Upsets happen in football, but if I'm to predict, I think the winner will come from one of these four teams. So I really think it's going to be a four-horse race.
Of course, looking at Arsenal, we know they're not going to be playing in the European in the European competition, and at this point in time, they are not even being listed among the team who are actually tipped to win the Premier League title. But do you think Arsenal can give other teams a run for their money?
You know, to be realistic and based on the fact on ground the statistic, you say Arsenal is outside among the top contenders this season. Because if you look at the personnel in Arsenal and look at based on the performance toward the end of last season, and even this transfer window, they have not done anymore. They are not very active in the market. But you cannot. That does not mean that you can completely write them off.
At all.
They signed Lunga, they signed Ben White.
Okay, for instance, Arsenal, they have any other competition apart from the league and the Carling Cup. So that means they have a whole lot of time to concentrate, just focus on the domestic competition. This is any road attraction, any road distraction. This thing. So that may give them an opportunity to also fight on, and at the same time, club like Tottenham, although Tottenham they are in disarray at the moment, there's no coach, there's no this, there's no that, and they have issues. But you can't completely say that Tottenham, Leicester City, Arsenal are completely out of title race. But just like Afua said, if you look at it on the paper, you say who are your candidates. Just like the normal political election, you say who are your candidates. You say okay, these who command the crowd, who command this, because as Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Manchester United are up there. You say okay, these are the four title race.
But let's get your reaction quickly. So our time is up right about now. Who do you pick to win the Premier League title?
I can't put my money on anybody. at the moment.
Alpha.
Absolutely, I would have wanted to be biased here, but that will reveal the club I support. So
We all
the
know.
winner,
We all know is Manchester United.
the winner could come from any of these four.
Of course, just to let you know that the action in the English Premiership return tomorrow, where Arsenal will play Brentford in that particular one. Is early kickoff for Arsenal on Friday. They will be, entering the stadium to actually start that 2021 to 2022 campaign. Who will you be rooting for in this Premier League? Head straight to our Facebook and our YouTube page, send in your comments. We get to take it up from there. But it has been nice, talking sports with Usman Salifu. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Alpha, thanks for coming on the show today.
Always a pleasure.
Of course, Sports Orbix makes a return tomorrow, same time, same station. My name is Olawale and I'm saying bye-bye for now. God bless.
Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.